Alright, hello YouTube. Welcome to the second part of how to make a low poly barrel for a game. So what we are doing right now is we are going to make a texture. Well, I'm going to teach you how. I'm actually going to use my already pre-made texture that I have, but I'm going to teach you guys how I made it. So I actually didn't make mine in Paint. This is Microsoft Paint. Everybody should have this, so hope you guys have it. But I actually didn't make mine in Paint, so hopefully you guys will be able to make yours in Paint. I already know you can make it in Paint. So here's what you do, right? So you come in, you just load up Paint, you click this square here, right? And you pick your color 1 to be brown, you pick your color 2 to be brown, and you click at the most top right corner you can, and for whatever reason, alright, you know what, fuck it. Just work with it, alright? So you're going to want to make a square, right? Then you're going to want to take your bucket tool and fill it. Now we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to get this square. And gray. Gray is a great color for the metal part of the barrel. So there you go. You're going to want to fill that with gray. And this is how you make your texture. And in the end, you should, oh, well, so much for trying to pull it open on the side here like I was going to. There we go. Hold on 1 second. In the end, you should get a picture. You're going to want to fill it up with a lot of colors, actually, because you're going to want to use this texture for multiple things. And I'm going to show you why this texture is great in a second. Alright, so if I go into here, and I show you guys the color palette that I have, that I use. Oh, didn't want to open there for a second. Open. There we go. So this is the color palette I use. As you can see, there's a lot of different colors on here. Now, what this is good for is when you're texturing, you'll be able to swap to the different colors. So you're going to want to make all these different colors on here. You can make a couple different files. I chose to just put them all in one file because I'm lazy. But this is how you make it, and then you know, save it as a PNG, and you're golden. Alright, so we're going to switch over to Blender real quick, so I'm going to pause the recording and switch back over to Blender. So I was just teaching you how to make one of these real quick, because these are what I use as my textures. So, switching. Alright, now that we... Oh, sorry, my throat got to me there. Now that we are done making the texture, what we need to do is come back into Blender and split this in half. And then we're going to change this half to the UV image editor, and we're going to come over here to materials, and we're going to click new, and it'll automatically apply itself as long as we're selected to this item. So make sure you have this selected before you do what I just did. Now it should automatically set to what it is right now. You can hit preview to see what it is. We're going to click on this little dot beside color, and we're going to come over here to image texture, and then we're going to come over here to open. Now you're going to have to go and find where you went and save that. I call mine color plate. I have it right here. So, you know, I have it pretty standard. I know where it's at. So that's what the it'll look like in material. Now on here, we need to click on that, not on new or open, but on that, because we already have it open, and just click on it. And it'll open up itself up here in the UV image editor. Now, what we need to do is we need to go into edit mode, and we need to make sure that we have everything selected, every little thing selected on the thing. You can do that by hitting A. So you can see some unselecting and reselecting, and you can see right there that I'm hitting A. So we're gonna hit A, select everything, then you wanna hit spacebar, and you wanna type in smart, or SMA, that's as far as I needed to go. Smart UV project should come up, so you're gonna click on that, and it'll have all these settings, but you don't need to fuck with these. Never fuck with these. You don't have to fuck with them. Did I get to my point that you don't have to fuck with them? And we're going to click OK. Now, it just laid out our UV for this. Now, what is our UV? Our UV is a flat image of one of the polygons. So this square here is a polygon, and it is one of these squares on here. How we can figure out which square it is? Just by selecting it. So that's what square it is. So when we have them all selected, we know that one square right there is that square now, and so forth. You can also unselect them to figure out which square they are. So we know that square is that square. But that's not really too important, because what we really need to do is we need to come into here, and we need to click Island Select. So that way it's easier to select these. And we're going to hit A to select all, and then we're going to hit S to scale them down. And you want to scale it down pretty small to about a box size. And you're going to hit G, and you're going to move it over onto the brown that you want of your choosing. I like this darker brown for barrels. That's me. So this is my color palette, by the way. I don't know how much you put on yours or what colors you put on yours, but you can choose from any of these colors. Now, Cameron, if I go over here and click on textured and then hit tab to go back into material, all the rings are brown and they're supposed to be metal. Well, we're gonna fix that right now. So what you need to do is go back into edit mode. You can also see the color of it in material mode. It's just slightly brighter. But anyways, so we're gonna go into texture mode, right? And we're gonna hit A to deselect everything. Now what we're gonna do is Alt and try and get it to do what it did earlier. There we go. We're gonna take all these and we're gonna hit G. Move them to an area of silver that we like. Now I'm gonna choose right here. Here's gonna be my silver for now. All right, then I'm gonna come up top here and I'm gonna try and get this to do the same. There we go, got it. So this ring here, bring it down onto the same area. And you're just gonna have to do these for all of the rings, and eventually you'll have a completely textured barrel. Now for this one, it's gonna be a little more difficult because it's double split, because it's a little wider in the middle. So compensate for that. There we go, got that. G, just bring it down. It doesn't matter if they overlap. You should try not to overlap them because organization and such. But I'm not a big stickler on organization. Is that right? Alright. If it's coming out fine, then it is fine. Now, you just need to repeat the process, so you can just listen to me ramble on here, on and on and on, as I repeatedly do the same thing to each one of these rings. Yoink, yoink, yoink. There we go. Oh, to do that, you have to hit Alt, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier, because Alt doesn't show up on the screencast. So if you want to select a round in a ring, hit Alt and click. Now sometimes it'll mess up and it'll select like that. So you just gotta keep trying until you get it right. It has to do with the lines, so there we go. If you click right on those little lines, it'll do it the whole way around usually. And that's what you're going for. So G, just move this bad boy here. Now you're gonna see why this is a really, really cool texturing technique, especially if you're gonna have reskinned items in your game. Like let's say you make an animal, right? And obviously games are really hard to make. So obviously you're probably gonna have some reskins. It happens, you know, it adds variety to the game without you having to do like make a whole new creature or something. So now we can select all of this, and as you can see, we've got a nice looking barrel here. This is what the barrel would look like in game. Wait, let me deselect from it. There we go. This is what the barrel would look like in game, just so you know. Now we're going to go back into edit mode here, and if we hit A, we can see all of the faces on the UV. Now if we hit A and then we hit B to box select, we can actually click here where all the brown are, and we can change all the brown to another color. So if we wanted a lighter shade barrel, we changed our mind, and we're like, nah, we want the light shaded barrel, you know. There we go, now we have the light shaded barrel for the game. Or if we want this weird brown shaded barrel, there you go, you have a gray barrel now, a gray brown. You know, I like the darker brown for the barrel, but that's me. It makes it look more barrel-y. You could also change the metal color. So we can change the metal color to this blue. We could change it to this really dark gray, which looks more like a light shade of black. We can change it to this pink metal. There you go. You can pretty much do whatever you want with it, and it's really useful if you're going to be doing reskins, because skinning something is kind of a pain and such. So now we're going to set up a render for this, so that way you can show off to your programmer, you know, like, hey, this is what the barrel looks like, do you want me to make any changes? Remember, this is low poly, so if you're making a low poly game, this is going to be amazing. you know. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to set up the render so you can show them what it looks like. So what you're going to want to do is hit add, mesh, and you want to find a plane. You're going to bring the plane down, and then you're going to scale and just, you know, move it a lot, or you can type in 100, you know, your choice. I chose to type in 100. Now you're going to want to go underneath it, click on the blue arrow, and drag it up until you see the brown come through a little bit, and then just keep slowly moving it until you can't see the brown. Just slow little increments, and now it pretty much looks like it's touching the floor. You hit A, and you hit add again, and you come over here to lamp, and you hit sun, and grab this blue arrow, yank that sun up into the sky, and then we want it casting over from this way, so we're gonna hit like that and like that, but it's still just pointing downwards. So what we actually need to do is rotate on the X, bring it out a little bit, and then rotate on the Z to make it face that way. So it's facing about the direction I want. Now we're gonna go to view and hit camera, and then we're gonna hit N, and we're gonna hit lock camera to view. We're gonna hit N again so you can see better. And now when you move around, even zooming in, you move the camera with you. So you're gonna want to get, you know, that shot you want. So find a nice angle to where the shot will look nice. And there we go. You're gonna click this floor. A lot of material to it. We'll make it like a gray color. There we go. Or actually, no, that's really bad because that goes against the grain of the other stuff. So we're just gonna leave it white. But it's good to make sure it has a material. You want to come over here to this. Now, if you have a GPU like me, you're gonna want to hit GPU compute, but you can leave it on CPU compute. You're gonna crank this up to 100%, and then you're gonna want to turn up the sampling. Now, I'm gonna turn mine down to 25 for the tutorial, so it renders really quick. You're gonna want to turn this to PNG 100, or actually no, we're gonna go to JPEG because I like JPEG better. We're gonna go 100% RGB, and you're gonna render it. Now mine's gonna render crazy fast, and it's not gonna look that great because I only did 25 samples. But there we go. That's what it'll look like in game, just standing around. Minus the shadow being all bleh, and see how it's all bleh up close. So anyways, I hope you guys found this tutorial helpful. Oh, and to save this, I almost forgot. Before I end the video, you hit save as image, and then you save it where you want, and just hit save as image, and you're golden. Now I'm gonna re-render this for the thumbnails of the video. So anyways, I hope you guys found this helpful. This was a basic tutorial on how to make a barrel and texture it, a low poly barrel. And we're gonna do more low poly stuff in the future. We're gonna be doing a lot more stuff in the future, so please hit that subscribe button so you can come back and see some more. So I love you guys, and I will see you in the next one.